First question. Can climate change cause earthquakes? I cannot answer that one. I don't even know if that's possible. I can't think of a mechanism. It almost sounds like a movie with like The Rock in it, like a mega earthquake because climate change and there's a frantic scientist or something. Does climate change make winter colder? In certain places, yes. So it's always important to be clear. Climate change is this global phenomenon, but it doesn't mean it's going to affect every part of the world in the exact same way. So some places will get much hotter, some places will get drier, some places will get wetter, some places will get colder. So the Midwest of the US has seen more polar vortexes in the past several decades than they have historically. And these polar vortexes are literally just Arctic air that's plunging further south. And so I was in undergrad in Iowa at the time where I experienced my first polar vortex, and it was a negative 20-degree day, not including wind chill, and we still had classes. Climate change can make winter colder, but not everywhere and not all the time. Is climate change getting better? I would say things are going to get worse before they're going to get better, if that's what the question is seeking to ask. An example, the Mississippi River and parts of it are drying up, which is, for me, unfathomable, given that I grew up 3 blocks from the Mississippi River. So to think about the idea that climate change is getting better is like so far from my mind right now that in some ways, it's hard to really address that question. But I think it's going to get worse for a little bit. It will eventually get better. So we got to get through the thickets before we get to the nice green fields. Can climate change make you sick? Not directly, but indirectly. As many places start to get warmer and more humid, these diseases that used to only be found in the tropics are now finding themselves in places where, hey, we can hang out here, and guess what? We have a population that we can now infect. So that's a real growing concern about the future of epidemics in the world of climate change. And it's really critical for us to better understand kind of the medical side of that and how these things relate to environmental change so that we can better prepare ourselves. Can climate change cause extinctions? Yes. A lot of the extinctions that happened during the dinosaur die-out didn't come directly from the KT event and the explosion of an asteroid, but a lot of dying happened in the centuries and millennia after the event because all this ejecta was thrown into the atmosphere, changed atmospheric dynamics, and that led to a lot of plants dying, what led to a lot of herbivores dying, and then carnivores died. And so that is obviously a much more cataclysmic event, and if an asteroid was to hit us now, we'd have bigger fears to worry about. But that just goes to show that we can have massive die-off events that are related to changes in climate. Does climate change affect natural disasters? I'm just getting all the good ones. Yes, so hurricanes are a good example of an area where climate change changed their strength, their severity, and their frequency. Global ocean temperatures are rising, and warm water is the fuel that hurricanes like to eat and make them bigger and stronger. In particular, when you look at the Gulf of Mexico, storms that were maybe a tropical storm category 1, which are fairly weak, those storms are now entering the Gulf where sea surface temperatures are elevated beyond historical levels, and then these storms are quickly ramping up to category 2, 3, 4, and even 5. And those storms cause much more devastation. Will climate change end the world? That's a bit sensational. I think I can take this question 2 ways. So in the world, if the world, we're talking about like physically the planet, then no, Earth will be fine whether humans or any life is here. But in the world, in the way that we know it and understand it as this biosphere that humans enjoy, climate change won't end it necessarily unless you look at the most extreme examples, but it will significantly change it and make the way that humans have lived on this planet, and not just humans, but plants and animals, dramatically different. So it will take concerted effort at the global level, a lot of agreements to really get the climate and the planet back on track in a way that we have liked to live on it for the past millennia, several millennia. It's empty.